my God, it's happening. Everyone stay calm. Kotaku is shutting down. Well, at least Kotaku Australia, that has no direct affiliation with Kotaku US outside of name, but this goes a lot deeper. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and I got some news last night from Minimal Effort Gaming that completely blew my mind. Kotaku Australia is officially shutting down. They have laid off their employees. They are out looking for work, complaining about capitalism, and crying on the internet. And I don't want to be one of those people that's cheering on job losses, as I said in my initial tweet, and as I said in the article I wrote. It's never a good thing when someone loses a job. But this is one of those things that I've been talking about, screaming from the mountaintops at all these quote-unquote journalists, these activists posing as journalists at Kotaku, where I've been telling them to stop what they're doing and actually report on gaming news that people care about, instead of flaming the wars of Gamergate and trying to get attention on anything except video games. This is the ultimate ending to it. And I can't say I'm surprised. Unfortunately, this is the reality of the results of what happens when you don't do the right work. Smash JT. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article talking about how Kotaku Australia is shutting down. And yes, I wrote this article myself. I am an individual creator and I have my own website. I don't need Kotaku for this kind of information because I can present it to the end user unfiltered, without a corporate agenda or an activist agenda in the way, with my own feelings about a situation. And I almost feel like this era of gaming has been an awakening for individual creators, starting with YouTube, but now extending outward to individual websites, podcasts. I've even seen some individual magazines, some indie magazines start up with individual creators coming together, not needing these big corporations to back them to get the information out there to their audience. That thing that Kotaku lost a long time ago, an audience, the one thing you need to support your business, an audience. Kotaku Australia is dead. The first domino has fallen. This development was announced on Twitter X as part of the broader strategy by the Australia-based Pedestrian Group to restructure and cut costs. Dozens of jobs are being slashed in the process, marking a significant shift in the landscape of Australian digital media. Matt Rowley, the CEO of Pedestrian Group, broke the news on Monday morning in Australia when he stated, "We've made the tough decision to focus our wholly owned pedestrian brands where we control the strategy, the content, the product, the sales, and the outcome, the entire business. This will have an impact on roles within the group, and I appreciate the uncertainty that this change creates. So we will be in contact immediately with those people." And immediately they were, where Kotaku Australia and every single person working there started packing up their bags, closing down their office, and complaining on social media that it's not fair that they got let go. Among those affected was David Smith. This is the guy who called for a hardware ban for those who issued abusive or harassing comments in a lobby. Yeah, because the mute button just is too hard to press, and you want to make sure you can oppress other people and make them hardware banned because of mean words. How'd that work out for you, David? Folks, I have some sad news to share. Today, the story of Kotaku Australia comes to a sad and abrupt end. It has been one of the great joys of my life to wake up every day and run a site I love with all my heart. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to sound like I'm being heartless with all of this, because my heart does go out to everyone who was affected. It genuinely does. But there's a gigantic but here. These people that are working at Kotaku, from what I've seen, there might be an exception to the rule, but from what I've seen, do not like you, do not like video games, do not like the industry. They have an agenda to push as an activist, and they aim to hit those targets no matter what the cost, up to and including getting laid off because they've been avoiding doing their job. So while I never want to see anyone lose a job, at the same time, this was coming, and I hope these people are able to land on their feet somewhere else in any industry outside of video games, because they do not belong in it. And yes, I know that sounds very gatekeepy, but one thing I've learned over the years is gatekeeping is not a bad thing once you've realized when you open the gates to these activists and these propaganda pushers that don't really care about gaming, they will jump in, push you out, and try to close the gate behind you. Simon Stevens said, gatekeeping is a good thing. Look what happened to Western gaming when you didn't push back. The activists came in, called everyone bigots, and inserted themselves into your favorite IPs in order to change them to suit themselves, keep voting with your wallet, and push them out. Meanwhile, the coping and seething on the other side of the fence is in full swing right now, with Alyssa Mercante complaining, "You have no idea what journalism is. Your websites look like they're from 2001. They're riddled with typos. You use yourselves as a source for your stories. You have an internet connection and a webcam and think you have something worthy to say. You don't. We could set up Nana with my Razer Kiyo in her care home and she'd make more coherent shit." Oh God, Alyssa. Cope and seethe.
The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard.
You have an internet connection and a webcam and think you have something worthy to say. These are the types of people that have invaded our hobby and are trying to lock us out of it. Yes, I have the freedom to talk into my camera and tell you guys my feelings about what I think about transpiring in the game industry. Or hell, if I want to talk about something else, guess what? It's YouTube. I can do that too. And no one, I don't care what position you're in, is going to tweet something and scare me away from doing that. Alyssa continues with her coping and seething because, of course, this is a Marxist, communist, anti-capitalist, someone who just wants her particular agenda to be propagated out there at all costs. And this situation is completely exposing her ass. It's a shame that private equity and Google have gutted legacy media sites, and the stupidest, cruelest people in the world are rushing to fill the gaps. Oh, okay, so the people working at Kotaku were not the stupidest? You're telling me that there are people that are going to be replacing them that are stupider? But yeah, that's what the audience has been gravitating towards? So the audience you're calling stupider too because they're following people that aren't you? I'm just trying to follow your logic here, Alyssa. But then we have to insert the politics as well because it's Alyssa and she's crying right now because she knows what's coming next. Kotaku US is the next domino to fall. Sending solidarity and love to the amazing writers at Kotaku Australia and all the other sites affected. You are all stars and deserve better. Capitalism is cruel. Your work remains. Always. Here's the thing. Your work should speak for itself. The cream rises to the top. The best people are the ones most recognized. Normally. That's typically how it works in this era of social media. Are there some that fall through the cracks that shouldn't be there? Of course, nothing is perfect. But holy crap, the coping and seething with Alyssa about the situation is impressive, even for her. The internet and the rats infesting it are even crueler. But a reminder, cheering for people losing their jobs while men get rich off their labor is morally bankrupt. Again with the Marxism. God, Alyssa, could you at least try to veil it a little bit? Like, this is embarrassing. And by the way, I hate that I even have to say this, but let's stop the reactionary ride before it gains speed. We are not affiliated with the Kotaku Australia. We don't share anything except the love for games and good reporting. All right, so neither one of you love games. Neither one of you are good reporters, so I guess you just share misery with each other and your propaganda of agendas that you push outside of gaming. But you don't want to hear that because it flies directly in the face and exposes your ass. That's what it is. That's the reality, and that's why you hate me. Because I call it like I see it, and you know I'm right. While the closure of these sites undoubtedly affects many journalists out there, and I use that word very lightly when talking about Kotaku, they're now seeking new employment, and I view this as a positive shift for games journalism in general. GO Media-owned Kotaku America has often been at odds with gamers for well over a decade now, beginning back with the original Gamergate saga, and more recently, their involvement with defending Sweet Baby Inc. and the entire Nose Ring Mafia cohort that they all seem to be in bed with each other to protect each other instead of talking about gaming and actually interesting things about it. No, they have to always project, lie, push propaganda, push a narrative, and then say everyone else is the problem. This ongoing tension has placed the site in a contentious position with the gaming community, where many like myself have felt a strong need for accountability, for professionalism that has been sincerely lacking, to put it nicely. Kotaku has been, to be blunt, a cancer to the entire gaming community at large. It's what they've become. They haven't always been this way. There was a time, long ago, I was there, where this was the site that I would go to every day to find out not just fantastic insights and articles about the video game industry in general, but also things that made me think deeper about the games that I was playing and why it meant something and the powerful stories behind them. But no, that's all been shot to shit and turned into whatever this is.
Oh, and there's
Their
going to be like
wife
20...
is like, honey, please come to bed. They're like, not now.
There's going to be like...
Someone's tangentially mentioned me, sort of, kind of.
There's going to be like 20 YouTube videos that are going to have all of our faces plastered upon them. Whoa!
And as I stated earlier, I genuinely do not find any pleasure in hearing people losing their jobs. Outside of someone like Alyssa Mercante, who would get let go, where I'd actually be dancing on that one because she has earned it. Everyone else, no. For the most part, they seem like people that are trying their best and caring, maybe a little bit confused in life about what they should be doing and thought that it was gaming, but in reality, it's not. It never was. And they are realizing that right now because they have failed. Like, ultimately, they have failed. Kotaku Australia has been failing for a very long time. I actually covered that in a previous video where their video views, their podcast, their site got like no attention whatsoever. I don't know how they were employing 12 people there because they were getting like in the single and double digits of clicks daily. With 12 people working there. I just, that blows my mind. It makes me wonder what more was going on in the background there. But beyond all that, ultimately, these people are learning very fast that this was not the career path for them. And it sucks. It genuinely sucks. And I feel for them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when it comes to this happening, I care about their livelihood and hope that they're able to find a career path that suits them better. But at the end of the day, this makes the video game industry stronger, better, getting rid of people like this, getting them booted from it, and hopefully they move on to something else instead of trying to go to their buddies and get a friend and work somewhere else within the game industry and not realize living 20, 30 plus years of their life working in an industry where they shouldn't be. But hey, if it's all they know, maybe that's why they keep falling back to it. Emily Spindler, another former employee of Kotaku Australia, said, "Woke up from B-Day leave to the sad news that my and so many of my gorgeous, talented colleagues' time is done writing for Kotaku, Gizmodo, Lifehacker, Vice, and Refinery29. Gutted doesn't even come close to describing the feeling. I'll probably write something much more coherent once it's all sunk in, but the last 13 months have been a wild ride. Getting to work in my literal dream job, full-time, with amazing people, has been life-changing." So maybe these people think it was a dream job. I mean, I guess if I kicked back every day and spewed propaganda and didn't really work hard, I would think that's a dream job too if I was lazy. Maybe that's the case. But ultimately, again, I go back to who is your audience? What are you making your articles and your videos and whatever you guys are doing in Kotaku Australia? Who is your audience that you're creating? And if all you're doing is belittling people and making them sound stupid and feel stupid and talking bad about them, they're not going to come back to you. And also, more importantly, if all you're doing is talking about video games in a very boring light and not actually adding any interest and insight and entertainment to it, you also won't garner an audience. You will fail. And this is Exhibit A of that. The closure of Kotaku Australia puts additional pressures on Kotaku United States. And while they are not directly affiliated with each other, if I worked at Kotaku US and saw this happening, you bet your ass I would start applying elsewhere. Somewhere outside of games media and games journalism. I would be focused on trying to find my life passion where I actually want to spew my propaganda and actually go do it there. The problem is with people like Alyssa Mercante and many of her ilk, as they always put it, is they want to work in games media. Not because they love gaming, by the way. In my humble opinion, it's because they found gaming as an avenue to easily push propaganda without people questioning them. And once people caught on to it, man, they got pissed. They started contacting people's significant others. They started going after where people work. They started trying to shit talk people, talk down to them, make things up about them, paint them in the worst light possible to save their own image and career. And all it's done is dug a deeper hole. And as I stated in a previous video, Kotaku US is supposedly still searching for a new editor-in-chief. The role is crucial for steering the site through turbulent times. And it makes me wonder what's going to happen. Like, yes, I know GO Media is a separate company from who let go of Kotaku Australia. I get all that. But you got to look at this as GO Media and the brass up top. They know this. They hear the story. This is not a good thing for the brand of Kotaku, and it might get them thinking about what's going on with their own brand and how it's affecting them financially and why they're supporting this on beyond life support at this point where it's clearly not making them money, yet they still keep pumping money into it. At some point, you gotta cut your loss. Courtney Smith, another former employee of Kotaku Australia, said, "Isn't it so strange and awful that a big part of your life can just be upended because of a dollar figure?" Again, these people do not understand how business works. You can't just go to a job and write whatever you want and just assume it's going to work. Even if you love doing it, even if your passion is writing about video games, if you're not good at it, you won't garner an audience and you will fail. And they're all learning this in real time right now, even though I've been trying to tell them this for what feels like years now. Like, don't be like this. If you can't be entertaining and engaging with your audience and not putting them down, like, that's the biggest thing. Don't make them feel stupid. Don't lie to them. Don't lie by omission, Alyssa. But give the full story, the full picture to your audience and let them know what's transpiring in an engaging and entertaining way. And maybe you might be successful. There's no guarantees in life, but you know what? That would put you on a more steady path, I guess is the nicest way to put it. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Kotaku Australia shutting down and how I feel like this is the first domino to fall. Kotaku US is not far behind, even though, yes, I know they are not directly correlated and related to each other. I do feel like there is going to be some sort of connection here. If you guys want more information or all the links, resources, screenshots, I have linked the Smash JT article related to this in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing and want to support me and my financial journey in pushing Smash JT forward, maybe consider hitting that join button. Because here's the thing, if it's community generated and the community is encouraging it, that means that there is an avenue for success. And if the community, this day and age, wants these videos to continue, you can support it. That's kind of how it works. And people weren't supporting Kotaku, and this is what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
David, what is a video game?
A what?
A video.
A video game?
Yeah.
A video game. Never heard of that before.
Smash it,